So how did you get into, mortgage, and what was that first year like? Crushing, did you crush it out of the gate? And when was it, right? I want to have an idea on where rates were.
Well, I dabbled. Rates at the time were
Early 2000s.
around 6%.
Okay, which was healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
People freak out right now because of 6%.
And it was a refi market.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people had rates. We were refining people from 7% to 6%.
Yeah.
What I remember.
Yeah.
And I at that point I was married with one child, and I think I either had one in the way or I was close to that, and we were not making enough money because my first job out of college was what do you call a financial advisor.
Okay.
Did that for a year.
And you had to build a book, like you didn't.
Trying to build a book.
And they gave you some
basically
sort of
25-year-old going to somebody that might be a millionaire,
right?
Going, hey, give me your money. It made no sense at all. Like I would never do that today.
Right.
But it's one of those businesses that was kind of a blessing because that's, I think, a harder business than real estate or the mortgage business because.
How long did you do that for? How long did you do that for?
I did that for a year.
Okay, so in that year, how much did you make as a financial advisor trying to build a book?
$30,000. It was terrible.
And were you taking draws out against
there was
commissions?
Draws, and we had no money.
Yeah.
We had no money, and it was tough. And I knew it was an investment.
Yeah.
And my, I feel like I should call and thank my wife again for this.
Yeah.
But like she was all in.
Yeah.
And put up with barely making it and not having money and getting into debt. I remember we got in a lot of debt. But, I did it. That business, it's very typical. You burn out after about a year. So you either make it or you burn out. And I burned out, decided I didn't want to do it. Also learned something about myself, and I'm not sure I learned it in that moment, but not too far after that, I looked back and I thought, okay, I never was really comfortable having the type of relationship with my clients that was like open-ended forever. Because as a financial advisor, I mean, that's really your hope is that you pick up a client
and then
and you're
through the life of the
you get to know them and you know about their kids and their family and their life life stages and I just was never that way. And so what I liked about the mortgage business, just skipping ahead a little bit, is that it's more transactional and you get to know people, you do get to serve them, and it's about a 30-day process and then they go on down the road.
Yeah,
I liked that.
Okay,
and that's. We can get to this later, but it's still something I deal with today. I still have that in me today, and I have to really work to build relationships with people that are deeper than something very surface. It's kind of something that's like my next phase of the evolution of John is working on that. But
which is really surprising to hear because, like you said, we'll dive a little deeper on that.
Yeah.
But when you're crushing out 600 units, and you're serving, all these families, I would imagine many of them are repeat. And personal referrals.
But
in your
knowing
sphere.
that was really key to me, and embracing it, and so I'm not a natural database oriented originator.
Okay.
Because I don't have that in me.
Okay.
To build those relationships. I like chasing the new business.
Okay.
But knowing that's really good because you could spend a lot of time beating yourself up trying to be a database person that's basically inauthentic.
You're right.
And it's not like I don't want to help those people. I want to help them. I just don't want to do it in a way where we're going out to dinner and I'm getting to know their family. Like, I'm here. I do a great job. Let me know if I can help you.
Yeah.
But that's the depth I want to go with people.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
And knowing that is good because then I can focus on what I'm good at.
Okay.
Which is chasing the new business.
So you're a hunter.
I'm a hunter.
At the end of the day, you go and you get the skins, you get them on the wall, and then you go back out and take care of the clan, right? And if you think of tribal mentality, you had those that had that mindset, right? And you had the ones that were really great hunters, so they would go out and do probably what you're doing. And then you had those that were great caretakers, whether they're men or women, and they understood that, and the tribe understood that. And so it sounds like that you had a really defined mindset of, I'm going to go hunting.
Yep.
My wife is going to be the caretaker for the family here, and it sounds like she bought into that role, and that was a role that she really appreciated and enjoyed.
We're a good team.
Yep. Okay. And I want to talk about here in a little bit, because I've been through that before as well, right? On my second marriage, my last marriage, but the first marriage, helped me be a better version of myself now than what I was then.
For sure.
And it sounds like that happened to you, but I think that it is worthy of maybe diving into just a little bit. Where that started to pivot, right? Did the did something happen during the mortgage industry? Because I know that, during your time in mortgage that, sometimes we get off track, and you're crushing out a few hundred units in a year. It's hard to spend that time with your family like what you want, right? And if you're as driven as you clearly are, I can probably see how that writing was on the wall for you.
Well, I always tried really hard to have that what we call balance, and so I worked really hard, but I was really ambitious, and there were times that I needed the next mortgage to pay my mortgage.
Okay.
I mean, there were a lot of years like that.
Yeah.
Because I also would tend to, spend more than I make and try to keep up with the
You still that way? Are you still
Not
like that?
anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
took me about 20 years to figure that out. But,
okay.
Well, maybe, but we can get into that. But yeah, it's what I, it all worked. I mean, I was very fortunate to have a great partner. And we were great. We were a team when it comes to running the family, being good parents to our kids, being, mostly, as president, we were generally, quote, whatever you call a good parent. I feel like we were good parents.
Okay.
But I'd get off work and make sure I coached a lot of baseball and softball, but what I would do is, we do that and then basically go, that would take up the evening, get the kids to bed, and then I would jump back on the computer and catch up from whatever I missed, which means I wasn't in bed with my wife,
right?
Or I'd come in late, or we weren't connecting, and so, it's pretty clear to me how things played out and why they played out, because we were very focused on being a great family and good parents, but we definitely, didn't spend enough time together one-on-one.
I think that happens a lot.
And it kind of started off on the wrong foot. I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into this podcast, but it kind of started off the wrong foot because, again, what I see now is that she was really just a piece in the puzzle that I was building.
Okay.
And I wasn't seeing her as a human. I was seeing her as somebody I needed in my life to make my life work. And there's a huge difference. And
did you know that at the time, or
no,
just looking back, you're like, okay?
No, because of course what you do, well, she's unhappy and she doesn't like me, or she's but it's like, well, duh. I wasn't.
Yeah. Why would you like you if you're not there? And,
I mean, other than checking the boxes of, hey, and that was always the comeback. It's like, I'm a great provider. And, at the time, I don't know if you want to talk numbers, but maybe we were making $400,000 or $500,000. I mean, hell, that's.
And this is what?
How could you not love this guy over here making?
Right.
But
and can't you see that I'm out? You put the kids down.
I coached
at
baseball.
The games. I'm coaching.
Yeah, I read the kids the book. That I'm checking all the boxes of good father.
And y'all are going to bed, resting. I'm going to go work on the computer for another couple hours.
I'm going to stay up late and work. Why? You should appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I think as guys, we go through that, right?
Yeah,
and I'm sure that there are some women in our industry that maybe experience the same thing. But I just think from a male perspective, I too battle that with my wife and with my relationships, right? Which is, hey, can't you see, what our bank account is now versus where it was? Can't you? I mean, same thing, right? I did this for you. I did this for the kids. And it's almost like getting those skins on the wall. And I think that in our relationships, our wives or our significant others, those matter, but those don't matter as much as the 5 love languages, as they may say, right?
Yeah.
For your former wife, was it that you weren't providing for her emotionally, that you weren't spending time with her? Where did that start to transition?
As evidence of how disconnected we were, I'm not even sure.
Yeah. Wow.
Probably quality time.
Okay.
And somewhere along the way, I broke her trust.
Okay.
I don't mean like an affair, but I mean she needed me for something.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there.
Okay.
And it probably it may have been a slow burn. Like it kept happening. Like, because I was, the one that was like had a little bit of ego. Like, like if the kids are up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I got to work tomorrow to make sure we make pair mortgage, which was kind of true.
Yep.
I mean, I was the bread. I had to make sure there were times
that was your role, right? You had defined roles.
But it's kind of left her kind of trapped and stuck in this role that didn't give her a lot of freedom.